Hi, welcome to Ben and Barry on Football. My name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. My compadre in crime is...
I'm Ben Dickerson. I love football. He loves football. Crazy, it's March, and we're talking about football. NFL football, in fact, although we may have some other treats in store for you.
We got some other treats in store for you, but yes, we are talking football, a lot of stuff going on. So as a matter of fact, let's talk a little bit about what exactly we are going to be talking about. Let's see here. Ben and Barry on football. First, let me mention, if you are at the YouTube site, please click the subscribe and the notifications button so that you'll get that information. So today, Ben, we got a few good things to talk about. The NFL Combine.
Yes, sir.
This past weekend, man, I was doing double duty. I was working at home and I was, had the TV on in the background and I'm watching all the guys, and it was fun, man. It was fun. I really like the simulcast, where they show like three different guys, like they'll have one guy,
like they're all running together.
Tom Brady and
That's
this guy,
cool.
that guy, and all
I like
that.
that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Run Rich Run, I got to give them credit, raising money for the hospital there. So a lot of stuff going on. A few good personal stories came out of that. We'll talk a little bit about some of that, especially in the social media section.
Okay.
And then the AAF. So we actually still have some level of professional football.
Yes.
With the Alliance of American Football and their season going on. And what I'm going to do in that is I'm going to talk a little bit about the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings as applied to the AAF.
Okay.
We normally do that with the NFL, but for the people who are tuning in, you're going to actually see a little bit of the information that we don't normally share when we go through what we go through, and especially when we talk about the bias. And we'll talk about the bias and we'll apply it. And then you can follow along out there in viewer land and see how the bias holds up for the AAF. The bias took us directly to the Super Bowl for the NFL.
Absolutely.
So, and it's done that for the last few years. And, we're getting better and better at that. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL in general.
Okay.
So I'm sure there's just a few things going on. We always have the drama and it's going on in Pittsburgh and some of the releases, and you got a few franchise tags, a few things. There's a question about is Foles going to go anywhere or who's going to take him. There's just some things going on. And, we'll talk a little bit about that stuff. Show you some of our social media, some great stories on there, and then any rants and stuff that we have. We usually have a rant, but right now it's not a whole bunch to rant about,
Not really.
We're in the middle of the season.
It's basically the off season, but of course the NFL never sleeps. The fiscal year, the 2019 fiscal year, I think we talked about that in general a week or so ago. I believe starts in a week or so. I believe March 13th is the date. Free agency will reopen and things of that nature. So the NFL will officially be beginning their 2019 season, so to speak. And then after that, we have to look forward to the draft and the Hall of Fame game, the start of the preseason. As far as games are concerned, camps will be in session. And then on to the season. So, that's where we're at.
Stuff to talk about, So especially, if you're really into it, and we are definitely really into it. So let's start with a little bit of conversation about the NFL Combine.
Yeah, sure.
So like I said, I had a chance to sort of, multitask with the Combine right there in my face and watch some of these guys do their thing at the Combine. And man, some speed. He had some speed in the Combine. Might not have been the fastest overall, depending on some positions, but you know, when you start to look at some of these guys and some of the size of some of these guys,
yeah, that gets to be pretty amazing sometimes. You got some rare athletes that can really move at a size that you would not expect them to be able to move as quickly.
I'm telling you. Anybody stand out to you?
The D lineman, Sweat, he was smoking. That boy was moving. He is going to be great on a nice 3-4 defense if he gets picked up there, where he can play outside linebacker and put his hand down in the dirt from time to time and rush from the edge. That kind of speed is extremely rare for a guy his size. You have him right there in front of you.
Montez Sweat out of Mississippi, 260 pounds, ran a 4.41.
That's crazy, okay? He outran almost every running back that ran. There's only a couple running. You said 4.4?
4.41. He has a 36-inch vertical.
Of all the running backs that actually participated in the 40, only one of them had a better time, and that was a 4.4 flat. He outran every running back at the combine.
That's absolutely amazing. And you know, they had a few of those guys. You got right behind him, Brian Burns at 4.53, Rashawn Gary 4.58, Chase Winovich 4.59, and then Jamal Davis at 4.6. And again, we're talking 260, 249. Rashawn Gary's 277.
Yeah, what did he run? Because he's
a 4.58.
He's being highly touted. He'll probably go in the first round. Sweat will probably go in the first round too. Some of those other names I'm not as familiar with. But as we get closer to the draft, we may refer back to combine numbers when they start speculating where these guys are going to be picked at.
Right.
Okay. Because, you know, some people don't really believe completely in the combine. They call it the underwear Olympics. They say that some of the drills don't really correlate to actually playing the game of football.
Right.
But what they forget is this is designed to measure explosiveness, athleticism, speed, agility, qualities that all come into play when you're playing football. Okay? So the actual movement, what you're actually doing, may not be really football centric, but it shows that you have abilities at these different things that will be assets for you once you begin to play the game.
No doubt about it.
If you look at it that way, then you won't get it doesn't mean anything, because it does. It actually does.
You mentioned the running backs, and you had a number of them that did not participate.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Love.
He's coming off an injury, because
right.
I think he was planning to go, and I was kind of looking forward to him. He's not a big guy. What is he, 5'8", 5'9"?
Yeah, somewhere around there, 5'8", 60, right?
Yeah.
To this chart.
5'8.7". Yeah, that's not real big. 200 pounds. Very fast. I'm talking about game fast, because I don't know what he runs in the 40 because he wasn't able to participate. I'm sure the school's got a 40 time for him somewhere. And hopefully, when they have their pro day, he'll be fully recovered and maybe he'll get a 40 clocked. He'll have a good time. He's extremely quick. He puts me in the mind of Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
That's the kind of back he is.
Justin Hill, for the people who ran, has the fastest time for a running back at 4.4.
Okay.
Raquel Armstead came 4.45.
Temple guy.
Yeah, right, exactly. And you know something, I was talking to Steve, Corey Clemens' dad, and he was telling me that the kid who broke Corey's record was there, and I can't remember his name, but
at Wisconsin,
at Glassboro.
Oh, at high school. Okay.
Yeah, at Glassboro. Yeah, he's in the He's in there now somewhere, and I have to find out his name. We'll talk about him later.
He was at the combine, you mean?
I do believe. Or
cool.
He was
what college did he
invited.
go to? You don't remember?
You see, you're asking me.
We'll find it.
Something.
We'll
We'll
find it.
definitely bring that up.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, you're looking at 4-4-0 through the first 4-5 came all the way down with Travion Williams.
Right.
So you had 4-4-9. You had 3 of those, 4-4-8, 4-4-7. So some of these guys are pretty good.
Yeah,
You know,
and
there's a little bit of speed there.
if you never ran track in high school, or you never really got clocked in the 40, 4.6 ain't slow. 4.6 is not slow. But when we're talking about elite athletes at the skill positions such as running back and especially wide receiver and especially defensive back, the faster you can run, the better. The quicker you are, the better, okay? Because that means you have that elite athleticism that these coaches can work with to make you be as good a player as you can be. But if you run a 4.6 and you're running back, it does not mean that you stink. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Jerry Rice ran a 4.6.
I think you might be right about that. And that brings up that whole point about football speed versus
football speed as opposed to track speed, because when you run the 40, it's all about track speed. These guys train for months and months and months just for the combine. Just for the combine. They work on their starts, they work on their how they hold their arms, and you know, the whole everything. Okay. It's just like when these schools have these standardized tests coming up. Right? And they teach the kids the test.
Right.
That's what these guys do for the combine.
Exactly.
So that's a good way to look at it.
Exactly. Looking at the offensive line, there was a number of people who didn't participate. Eric McCoy looks to be at 303 pounds, ran a 4.89.
Yeah, I saw a couple of offensive linemen that were moving really, really well, and they were some big dudes.
Under 5 seconds, you got Chris Lindstrom at 4.91, Garrett Bradbury 4.92, and Andre Dillard 4.96. So these boys are 303, 308, 306, and 315 pounds.
These are O-linemen?
O-linemen, offensive line. Yeah.
Oh, some of these guys didn't run. They're down here. Oh, yes. Yeah. I see. Now, let's not get too crazy here, okay? Eric McCoy, I'm pretty familiar with. 4.89, that's excellent for him. Chris Lindstrom is coming out of Boston College. Bradbury's coming out of NC State. Dillard's coming out of Washington. I think he's going to be a pretty high pick. Offensive linemen, it's hard to track these guys unless you really study them and watch a lot of film. It's hard to keep up. It's not like skill guys that are running and catching balls and scoring touchdowns. You have an easier time of focusing on them, you know. So it remains to be seen how these guys go. But speed for an offensive lineman, people might not think that's a big deal, but it has its place. A lot of times you'll hear people talk about guards and tackles being maulers, where they just have such upper body strength and lower body strength where they can anchor themselves, use their hands properly, and that kind of thing, and just maul the guy that's trying to get by him.
Right.
Where the speed comes into play is teams that run stretch plays, counter plays where guys are pulling, sweeps, things like that. You don't want your lineman to be a great blocker but be slow, because then he's out in front of the running back. Running back might run past him. He might get in his way. You know, you want him to get out there and get up on top of his block as quickly as possible so you can spring the running back. So it does mean something. It does mean
funny
something.
Story.
Yes.
Pitiful, but funny.
Pitiful, but funny.
Pitiful, but as a freshman at Cardinal Dougherty High School, I went out with a team. I was running back. Got hurt like in preseason, so I really didn't get a chance to come back till like about the 3rd, 4th week of the season. By this time, they were pretty much set. So I had a little bit of size, so they tried to put me on the line. Yeah, that's funny right there, right?
This isn't going to end well.
They put me in a guard, right?
Right.
So they call the play where I'm supposed to pull, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I pull. The guy on defense steps inside. I run up on him. I fall down. He's standing there looking at me. I'm supposed to be taking him out of the hole.
And you plugged the hole.
Yeah, I plugged everything
Good
up.
job. Good job.
Yeah, you can take me out, coach. That's not for me.
I hear you, bro.
Put me in there. So look, we got the tight ends. Another guys with some size. Noah Fant coming in with the top speed for tight ends.
I know that name.
Coming out of Iowa.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad kid. He's going to do something.
249 pounds, running a 4.5 40.
That's really good.
Tell me about it.
That's excellent.
Look. He has a 39 and a half foot or inch vertical.
Whoa. Wait a minute. This guy has a 39.
No, wait. That's the guy above him.
Noah Fant.
No. Noah Fant's third.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, top guy didn't participate.
No, I think is your thing straight.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Top guy. Oh, yeah.
First guy didn't participate. Second guy, Dawson Knox.
That's the 39 and a half.
Had a 34.5. Excuse us.
Yes. I got him third.
Wait.
1, 2, 3.
CJ Conrad did not participate.
Right. Knox.
Second. 34.5.
Okay, Fant.
39.5.
Okay, so I'm okay.
Right.
That's where I was messing up. 39 and a half.
There's NBA players that don't jump that high. Okay?
That's crazy.
I'm serious. There are NBA players that don't have a 39-inch vertical.
Yeah, because the next guy only had a 29. He was 10 inches less. Josh Oliver with 34-inch vertical. He ran a 4.63. He's 249. Same size as
outstanding athletes. Irv Smith from Alabama is a tight end that could possibly, I don't know, he might be a second rounder.
32 and a half inch vertical, ran a 4.63. Yeah, these guys are running 4.6.
242.
Yeah.
This is amazing. But you know what? We're looking at the tight end list, and if you watch a lot of NFL football, you'll notice the change over time in that tight end position. Guys are coming out faster and more athletic, and teams are beginning to try to keep two good tight ends on their team, not only for two tight end formations, but also some guys are better blockers, and some guys are such dynamic pass catchers that it's almost like having another wideout out there. And they will sacrifice the guys not being able to block as well to keep him on the field for his pass catching ability and his speed. Dallas Goedert for the Eagles, Kittle for the Niners.
Yeah.
That seems to be the wave right now. And I don't see anything wrong. And it's starting to show up in these guys coming out of college.
Yeah, absolutely. Quarterbacks.
Yeah, let's talk about quarterbacks. Got to talk about quarterbacks.
Let's talk about
now, believe me, and we have this discussion all the time. The classic pocket passer and the quarterback that can run and throw and the running quarterback.
Okay, you got the three categories.
Three categories. I'm going to break it down three categories,
okay?
I like that. And then, Deshaun makes me break it down like that. Okay. Because I think Deshaun sits somewhere in that middle.
He does, actually.
Right.
He does.
Where he is a really good pocket passer, but he can run.
Yes.
Mahomes also. I don't consider them runners. I consider them fleet of foot and athletic enough to avoid the rush and still get the ball downfield.
Yeah. Okay. I would agree with that. As opposed to
Lamar Jackson.
Who's
a running quarterback.
Yes.
Now, some people will say, oh, he can throw. That remains to be seen. Everybody's got film now.
Right. And that seems to be a secondary talent. You know, I mean, we know how that he's super fast. Yeah. And he can run and all of that kind of stuff. And again, me coming from I'm a Niner fan. So, the whole Colin Kaepernick thing when that came about.
Yeah.
And all, and I just remember, so often where you say, okay, you got to get through your progressions.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Before you start running.
Yep.
And in the beginning, it was such a novelty. Everybody was caught off guard. And then, they start, when he take off, they're like, what are we doing here? This guy's rolling on us. But I've gotten to the point where, I am that person who prefers a quarterback that can run from a running quarterback. I don't think that you can stay healthy long running the ball too much in the NFL.
Right.
They just always seem to catch you no matter how. I mean, even Michael Vick got caught every once in a while, like in that Eagle game.
Yeah, he got.
Was that Dawkins?
I remember that hit. Yeah, Dawkins got him.
It was Dawkins. The chest was never the same after that hit. But, so Kyler Murray bowed out. He didn't, there's a whole bunch of conversation about him as to whether or not he interviewed well.
Really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah. And, it's funny because Charlie Casserly put out that he was hearing reports that it was some of the worst interviews. Some of the coaches saying this is some of the worst interviews that we've seen.
Oh, overall. Or he was one of the worst.
He was one of the worst. Yeah, because he did interview. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, he didn't do any on-field work.
And then you see the pushback from other players. They're like, wait a minute, this guy was everything in high school.
Oh yeah,
everything in college. So he has to know football. It's not like you can say he doesn't know football, But maybe it's just this conversation. Maybe it's just his way. He's not that guy that is engaging or something. And as one guy said, maybe he just got to a point where once he talked to 2 or 3 people and the rest of them, he knew they really weren't people that was going to pick him. So he didn't really put his best foot forward.
I would say that's a possibility. Now, one thing I'm pretty sure goes on when they interview quarterbacks, they put them up on the whiteboard.
Right.
And they have them draw plays and go through their progressions and what do you see if you see this defense? What do you do if you see this defense? And they draw it, and he's my primary and he's my secondary. They say, suppose they bring a second safety over the top, then well, in that case, then we put a roll in and blah blah blah.
Right.
Maybe it's a possibility he didn't do well in that part. I mean, other than that, they pretty much just ask him a bunch of questions, some of which are not football questions. There's been rumors that guys were asked about their moms.
Oh, really?
Asked about if you were,
I kind of remember that.
If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
Yeah.
Goofy stuff. They're psychological stuff, I guess they consider it.
Right.
Okay. So there's no telling if, in fact, they're being honest, whoever is saying that they considered it a poor interview.
Right.
There had to be a reason for it.
Right.
The guy's too dynamic of a football player to just go, oh, he sucks.
And I think there's starting to be some gamesmanship going on.
That too.
Because, we'll talk a little bit about Metcalf later. Matter of fact, I'll show you something on social media. But one of the people that I know found something on Twitter where they were comparing his shuttle to Tom Brady. And they was like, oh, his agility is not.
Oh, his shuttle's bad.
That was one of his only things that he didn't do well.
Okay.
He's a wideout. I'm like,
I think the shuttle works more for running backs.
For running backs, your
linemen,
even your quarterbacks, because they're in the pocket. They have to have that lateral, that type of movement.
Yeah.
But when you're 4'4" and 6'3", most of the film I saw of him was him running by people.
In full stride.
Running past coverages.
Right.
And catching it with one hand. So we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Right.
But the first player that we see here, because, again, we sorted things by 40, Trace McSorley, Penn State, your haunting grounds, ran a 4.57.
That's good.
Yeah.
4.57 is good. That's up there with most of the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, rumor has it that a couple of teams, when they interviewed him, asked if he would be interested in becoming a defensive back, if in fact they were to draft him. And he supposedly kindly said, no, I'm trying to make the NFL as a quarterback. I'm going to stick to that. We usually hear this, and I don't, we don't go into the whole race thing around here, but you usually hear this with black guys, with black players, because they're such great athletes, and maybe they have some questionable throwing traits that are like, well, the guy's so athletic and he's this and he's that and he's that. But you know what? His size and his speed, we can make him a receiver. Look, happened to Jason Campbell. Happened to a few guys, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
You don't usually hear about a white guy.
Wasn't the receiver from the Patriots, the one who was MVP in Super Bowl? What's he?
Edelman was a
quarterback.
Yes, but he chose to play wide receiver. I don't think he attempted
to be a quarterback,
to be an NFL quarterback.
He saw the handwriting on the wall.
But they probably didn't have to. He probably came in and said, "Put me in the receiver group."
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah, I remember him being a quarterback.
Yeah, put me in the receiver group. I know where I'm gonna make my money.
Tyree Jackson.
One more thing, and
sure,
probably nobody out there, I swear, please subscribe to our channel and please hit all the buttons and the notification stuff and leave comments if you think you like something we say or don't like something we say. But I put a challenge out there for anybody who agrees with me or disagrees that Trace McSorley looks like the little leprechaun dude that's the Notre Dame mascot. Please, if you're out there, you hear this, please.
The Notre Dame
So mascot. I don't think he looks, the little dude that's like this, the mascot.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Not the mascot that runs around on the field.
Okay.
The picture. I'm telling you.
Ready to fight.
He looks he's got the hair, he's got the little beard thing. All right, I'm done. I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, it's the Notre Dame guy.
He looks like that guy.
And his name's McSorley.
Yeah, well, he's there. And we got this gentleman, 249, Tyree Jackson, running a 4.59. That's a quarterback.
Now, how tall is he again? Remind folks.
I'm not sure.
6'7".
Is that the guy that was throwing the ball?
Yes, sir. 6'7", 249 pounds. A cannon. And word has it, and probably people saw. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I heard them talk about it, so I know it was on television. People probably saw it. There's a drill called the gauntlet.
I saw it.
You did see it?
Mm-hmm.
It's for the receivers. They catch a ball, get rid of it, catch another one, get rid of it, catch another one, and they go down the line.
Right.
And they line up quarterbacks on both sides, and they just throw darts at them. And they throw the ball pretty hard. Well, this guy is throwing the ball so hard that guys are really having trouble catching it. And you might say, oh, they're supposed to be receivers. They've been in college. They try and make the NFL. They got to catch that. Okay. If Steve Smith, Sr., is watching this and going, oh, this guy's taking money out of people's pockets.
Right.
Like he's making them look really bad. He's really, really throwing way too hard.
And I saw Steve Smith walk up to him and talk to him and kind of, pull his shirt on that a little bit. And again, and we both played linebacker. Yeah. That, when those guys are throwing those things,
and it's coming right at you.
It's coming right at you. It's it's a little different than when you're playing safety and D-back and that ball's coming, got a little R, you know what I mean? You got a little bit of time. Those things are coming, man, you know? And he was putting that ball on him for real. No doubt about it. So touch might be his issue in the end.
Well, he said after he talked to Steve Smith, he took a little bit off it and they had a laugh about it and everything. So
now I have a question here, because the entire time I'm watching these guys throw the ball, I'm thinking to myself, this is a drill that's not really designed for the quarterback.
Right.
Why don't they just use the jugs machine?
Because you'd have to line up 6 jugs machines.
They got money. But I'm thinking to myself, because at the very least you'd have consistent placement speed, all of
they
that.
don't want consistent placement.
Well, maybe they don't. But I mean, I just was questioning.
Part of the drill is, you know, it might be here, 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 it might be here. That's part of the drill.
I don't know. You know, I mean,
if the jugs, they're all going to be
right, and that's what you want. That's what I would think you want.
Why?
Because if you're trying to rate player X against player Y, and player X ball is all the way up there and he misses it, and player Y's ball is all the way down and he misses it, and then player Z comes along and the ball's right there and he catches it. You know, are they docking these guys a little bit because, you know, these balls are a little off here or there, whatever? I'm just thinking that some things you might want consistency with. That just a thought. Just a thought.
I understand where you're coming from with that, because if you make everything equal, my thing is, I think they feel like if we make everything equal, it'll be hard to separate guys because everybody gonna catch everything. None of the passes from the quarterbacks should be so terrible that you don't have a shot at it. There shouldn't be anything down by your feet. There shouldn't be anything we have to reach this high.
Shouldn't be a reason for Steve Smith Sr. to have to come up and say, take something off the ball.
But every ball was on the money right there.
It was there.
Was the velocity.
Well, again, that's a part of with the jugs machine. You can set velocities. You can set all of that stuff with those machines. Just a thought. I
don't think everybody dropped every pass he threw.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
They didn't.
So
they didn't. Just a thought. I saw a lot of drills where they were throwing balls to guys.
Yeah.
You know, and for example, one of the deeper balls was supposed to be over the outside shoulder. Guys are throwing it to the inside shoulder,
right,
and all of that kind of stuff.
But if that's a receiver drill, then the receiver can't say, "Dang, man, it's supposed to be over my outside shoulder. Come on." He has to make the adjustment.
He's making the adjustment, no doubt about it.
Because in a game, that quarterback's under duress, it ain't going to be always where you want
I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying this is a measurement thing.
Right.
You know,
right. Absolutely. So if you want to get a measurement, you want to make it as consistent as possible.
That's my only thought.
I got you.
So as we look down here and we see a bunch of 4.6s, we don't get to a 4.7 to Ryan Finley. So before that, you have Drew Lock, Nick Fitzgerald, Easton Stick. We talked about Tyree Jackson, Trace McSorley. And again, Drew Lock was a 4.69, Fitzgerald 4.64. And these guys are not nice size, 228 pounds, 224 pounds. So they got a little bit of size on them.
Yeah.
They, to use your word, poo-poo.
Good,
I hate that word.
Very good.
I don't even know why.
What they poo-poo?
The whole quarterback class. They was kind of just.
Yes, they're saying that this quarterback class is mediocre. That there's no big time, as opposed to last year when you had Rosen and Darnold and Baker. They're considering that class far better than this one. When I look at this one, in my knowledge of college football, and I'm not saying I have great knowledge of college football, but I do watch a lot of games, especially major college games. And I listen also to some of the shows where they talk about the players and try to break things down. Tyree Jackson has raised a lot of eyebrows because of the eye-popping stats that he put up at a school that is not a huge school from a huge conference, which is the University of Buffalo. Drew Lock plays in Missouri, which is an SEC school. Granted, it's not a great SEC school, but it is in the SEC nonetheless, so that they play big-time football there, because that's a big-time conference. And he's been on everybody's radar since high school.
Okay.
Another guy's been on everybody's radar is Daniel Jones, but he played at Duke. Not exactly a football factory, but they play good ball there, and they play a strong schedule. And he held his own and had good numbers. But to me, Will Greer. I think Will Greer is a 4-time starter. He's not a big kid. Where's his 6'2", 217, ran a 4.84. He's from West Virginia. Same school that produced. Oh, my God. I hate when my mind goes blank like that. He's in the NFL right now. He's a perennial backup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'll come to me. I'll say it but Will Greer's got some talent. But the guy I like the most out of this class, although people are raving about Murray, is Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, he had the slowest time.
And he had the slowest time.
He had the slowest time. He came in at 5.4.
5.4.
5.4? 5.4. Yeah, 5.4.
5.4. Which isn't terrible.
But he's a pocket guy for sure.
He's a pocket passer, yes.
He's a pocket guy for sure.
He can run, but he's not going to break out and put fear in your heart. You know, if he turns the corner on you, you're just going to run him out of bounds.
Okay.
You know,
okay. He'll get his 5 this
Yeah, he'll stick the ball out and get the first. Yeah. That kind of guy.
Yeah.
So
not bad.
Because he got good size, 231, 6'3", 231.
Yeah. That's about as prototypical as you.
But I like his arm.
Whatever.
He's a leader, and he's been a leader on a big-time college football team, which is Ohio State. So I like him. I'm hoping that my Giants will do what they have to do. They may have to trade up a little bit, but that they'll do what they do and pick this guy up. And with the promise that he'll sit behind Eli for what we hope is Eli's last year. And if what usually happens, which is Eli will stink it up over the first 3 games, and they'll just stick him in there, and we're off in a new era.
Well, you know, if your line plays a little bit better, Eli
won't stink it up.
Yeah,
I understand that.
You know?
But that's what happens. You know what I mean? That's what happens. The line betrays the veteran, and then you say, well, are we going to go through our whole season like this? We know he can't play behind this line. Put the young boy in. Throw him in the fire. See what he can do.
Well, we nickname your running back the gift.
Yeah, well, he's going to be a gift to somebody else
because, well, he bought Eli 2 more years. That's what we called him the gift for. We said he was a gift to Eli, and Eli got his year last year. He'll get sometime in the upcoming year, and this will be his 2 years.
He got his year last year because they didn't have nobody else.
Yeah, but I'm saying they didn't pick a quarterback. They picked a running back.
All right, you can look at it that way.
That's why we call him the gift. You know, that it extended Eli's career. We figured maybe a year. He'll get the 2nd year this year. We'll see how long he stays.
I look at it as
that was the gift. 2 years was about it. We didn't expect much more from that. But if you guys
call him a gift to Eli, I call him a gift to the New York Football Giants.
He actually is a gift to both.
NFL.
But originally,
he did buy Eli time. You are correct.
And if you guys get Haskins, and he's the quarterback that you is,
here we go.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's a great setup, new era in New York Giants history. That's what I'm talking about. This is the year. This is the year where we get that guy.
I can dig it. You know, it'll add some spice to the NFC East for sure. Wideouts is the last group that we're going to talk about from the combines because these are the burners.
Now we're talking about some real speed.
We're talking about some speed. Now, again, we had a number of DMPs here going down. So our first actual time, let's see here if I can get this correct and make sure I'm not. Is this Paris Campbell?
Yeah. Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Caught balls from Dwayne Haskins.
4.31.
That's flying.
At 2:05.
That's flying. That's flying.
And Andy Isabel, another 4.31.
I don't know.
He's a lot smaller. He's $188 in terms of weight. Miko Hardiman, 4.33. We got another 4.33. All right, here's my man here. Okay. 4.33 DK Metcalf, 228 pounds.
6'3", 228. So he's got long legs.
Wait till you
big, strong upper body.
Wait till we do this the social media and I show you his picture.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it yet.
No, I can imagine.
Okay. It's on our Facebook page.
All right.
It's absolutely amazing. And the reason I sent it to you is because the training thing.
Wait. He's got 1.9 body fat.
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look. I don't have to look. I know he looks like a cartoon superhero.
They called him Batman.
Yeah.
They already nicknamed him.
He probably looks like he has on one of them fake muscle suits that people wear on Halloween.
Dude,
except it's really him.
Wait till we get to the social media and you see the actual pictures. But do you need the?
Yeah, for a second. So I'm just real quick. There was some controversy. Yeah, I'll just real fast because I just read this the other day. John Ross, who ran the fastest 40 supposedly ever recorded,
right?
Just did it just last year,
right?
Broke the record.
They're talking about letting them go. But go ahead.
Yeah, right. Well, again, underwear Olympics, fast times don't necessarily mean you can actually play, but we could talk about that forever. He broke the record of Chris Johnson, the running back.
Right.
Chris Johnson has started a conspiracy theory that, in fact, the NFL rigged John Ross's race or his run so that he could break Chris Johnson's record because they were tired of Chris Johnson. He had held the record for many, many years. It's only a difference of 1/10 of a point. And I think a couple of people did the simulcast. And on some of them, it looks like Chris Johnson actually crossed the line first. So that's some more lore for you as far as the combine 40-yard dash is concerned. And you could throw that in there.
Lore.
With the Deion Sanders. I got off the plane, jumped in the car, jumped out of the car, took my sweatpants off, ran a 4.2, put my sweats back on, drove back to the airport and left. And the Bo Jackson legend. Bo claims he ran a 4.1 something. This is before they started really recording it. And it might have been hand timed. I don't know. But yeah, Bo claims he ran a 4.1. So enough of that. There's,
not including the DNPs here, there's like 19 wideouts before you get to 4.5.
Yeah. Lots of speed.
Before you even get to 4.5.
Lots of speed.
19 of these guys.
We're going to hold on to these lists. I'm going to make sure I put this stuff up so that when we get to the draft, we can revisit who did what and where they got picked. And I'm only going maybe like 5 or 6 rounds deep. If I don't hear your name after round 6, I don't know. Then we can revisit it again when training camp is halfway over and we've seen a couple of preseason games to see if anybody comes out of nowhere, so to speak, name-wise, and we go back and see how they did.
Okay. All right. We got the information here for you, ladies and germs. Next, we want to talk a little bit about the AAF, the Alliance of American Football. For a lot of people, it's really nice to have football however it comes,
Absolutely.
And so I thought that we would just take a few minutes to talk a little bit about the AAF, who they are, the teams, and maybe help people, especially if you're just starting to maybe catch on to what's going on. They've already completed 4 games out of a 10-game season. So this next game, game 5 coming up, will be the halfway point for the season.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do, let's see if I can do this thing correctly. That looks. Let's try this one.
While you're doing that, let me just say, I didn't jump right on board with this league. I kind of had a little Super Bowl hangover kind of thing after it was all over and all, and I won my fantasy league, and I was all happy, and I just kind of fell off the grid as far as watching football is concerned.
Plus, you got like 400 other fantasy things, the basketball.
You don't even want to know, bro. Yeah, you don't even want to know. But I did watch some AAF games.
Okay.
It is football. It is good football. If you really are into NFL football, you will hear some names that you've heard before. these guys are out here really trying to play some good ball. You know, the games are interesting to watch, but not the same way NFL games are interesting to watch. NFL games are interesting to watch because people know more about the players. They kind of know what to expect from the players, what players to watch for. They kind of know the teams. It's a running team. It's a passing team. I know they're going to have a good game if so-and-so has a good game. You kind of lose that with the AAF because we're just starting to learn about some of these guys. But it's not bad football.
Well, that was the reason that I wanted to kind of start off and talk about the executives, you know, the people who put this thing together, because it's always fun, especially when you start to look up and you see names of people and you say, wait a minute, these people have some serious NFL pedigree.
Yeah.
So just looking across the top of your first 4 executives, you see the name Ebersol. That's a football name that goes back. That's Charlie the son. Bill Polian, you know, general manager.
Legendary GM. He's in the freaking Hall of Fame.
You know,
or he's going in this year.
Okay. McKay, you know, and Troy Polamalu.
Legendary Pittsburgh Steelers.
Safety. A hitter, crazy hitter. And then you see another Steeler, Hines Ward, right? Not as familiar with some of the other names there. We'll find a little bit more about them. But these are, you know, people that are behind the scenes, you know, office people, things of that nature. You go a little bit further and you see a few more people that are behind the scenes. Let's go down and we see here Jeremy Blanchard. I know that name. I'm not sure about Dr. Patrick Kersey, but these are the medical people. They have some things going on with those guys. I think they're actually working on some special safety equipment and things.
Yeah, I believe I saw something like that where they're working on the helmet. You know who's really deep into the helmet thing with safety and the concussions and trying to make the better helmet? Ron Springs used to be running back for the Cowboys.
Okay.
Back in the day, like kind of back, like before Dorsett, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. He's big. He's got a company.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We might actually be connected with some of those people on our Twitter feed. We're connected with a few of those. Mike Pereira, official, NFL official. Dean Blandino, another NFL official. They're officiating consultants. And I'm not sure about Steve there. There's your chairman, Tom Dundon, your board of directors, Dick Ebersol. So there's your other Ebersol from the NFL.
I believe Dick Ebersol is the one that actually, I don't want to say owned ESPN, but I think he ran ESPN for a while.
Okay.
In the early days of ESPN. He might not have been CEO, but he's probably president or something.
Lots of money.
Okay. Yeah, so
lots of money.
The thing is, these people have football pedigree. All of
football
somewhere
pedigree
along the way.
Your player engagement board of advisors. We got 2 well-known names here. Former Giant, Justin Tubb.
Both D linemen.
Both D linemen. Jared Allen, absolutely. And so when you start seeing names like that, you say, okay, I got to give these guys a little bit of legitimacy. So there's your executives right there. And I wanted to talk a little bit about who are some of the head coaches. We see 3 faces there, but let's scroll down and talk a little bit about some. Kevin Coyle, Atlanta Legends. Kevin has been around a little bit, both colleges and the pros. So, you know, he's got some background. Helping Coyle out on defense will be Jan Weller, who made history in 2015 when she became the NFL's first female coach.
Right.
So you have a little bit of history going on there. There's a name we all know, Dennis Erickson.
Mostly from college, but obviously he's had a lot of success in college. And did he go Seahawks for a minute?
I do believe.
I think he did.
Won 2 national titles,
mm-hmm.
At the University of Miami, and 8 Coach of the Year awards.
Oh, yeah. That's when the Hurricanes were rolling.
Yeah.
That's when the Canes were rolling. Yeah.
Tim Lewis.
After what's his name?
Now, what I decided to do was to take a couple people and maybe try to focus in a little bit more on them.
Sure.
Because again, when I saw the name Tim Lewis, I was like, okay, who is that guy? So Wikipedia it's pretty good. I like Wikipedia. At least they have references, and you can always, confirm more information on them. But here this guy that came in was a former quarterback. He's now the head coach of the Birmingham Iron, and he played college football for the University of Pittsburgh, drafted by the Packers in the first round in 1983. That's the year we won the championship, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he had a neck injury, began serving as a coach in college and at professional levels, and is the younger brother of the Memphis Express general manager, Will Lewis. So he got picked up by the Packers. He was a cornerback and considered to be one of the more skilled players in what was a relatively weak team. I don't know about that, but he shared the lead in the team for interceptions in 83 and 85. Finished with a career total of 16, 99-yard interception return against the Rams. So again, this guy's he's got some background. Coached at Texas A&M. Under his former college coach at Pittsburgh, Jackie Sherrill. That's a name we all pretty much know. Defensive coordinator for the Steelers and the Giants. The Giants keep popping up in this thing, man.
Yeah.
My Niners. Okay. Secondary coach for the Falcons. Became the defensive backs coach in 2015. Was that Chip's year? Or that year before Chip Kelly?
Being with the Eagles?
With the Niners.
2015, I think that might have been him.
Yeah. So that's
what 16.
They got rid of everybody when they cleaned house with that.
But the deal is they didn't just go out and pick up just anybody to run these teams. It looks like they really obviously, because of the popularity aspect, they went after guys with names if they could get them.
There's one there.
Right, which is Mike Martz. But they also tried to make sure that these guys had enough coaching experience behind them that if you didn't know who they were and you looked up their Wikipedia, you could say, wow, this guy's been around. He's done things. They've been position coaches. They've been coordinators, okay? So it just so happens that maybe they weren't employed at the time, because I don't think any of these guys really got pulled away from an NFL team, but they all got credentials, real credentials, big time college coaching and or NFL position coaches or coordinators.
Rick Neuheisel with the Arizona Hot Shots.
Mostly known at UCLA, but I think he had a shot in the pros too.
Okay. Signal callers such as Cordell Stewart, Tuiasosopo Marquez.
Tuiasosopo. Yeah, I knew that name.
And the late Steve McNair. Mike Raleigh, who's with the Commanders.
He was with the Falcons.
Okay. All right. Won 2 Grey Cups. Another guy who played a little bit.
He won them as a player?
No, he coached, I believe.
Oh, as a coach? Okay, yeah. Great.
Coach.
It's Canada, but it's a chip.
It's a chip. There's Mike Singletary.
Everybody knows Mike.
And as we all say when the commercial comes on,
fumble!
No doubt about it. And this is the guy who's scoring all the points. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Steve Spurrier.
The old ball coach, as they call him.
73 years old.
Yeah, I saw him. He just had some little back surgery or something, so he was limping that game I was watching.
Oh, really?
The game in the snow this past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they played in Salt Lake City, I think.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. You know what? If you are an offensive mind, you're just an offensive mind. From day one, he's been known as a great offensive coach. And it shows. Now, some of that stuff might not play in the NFL. Rumor has it that when he did become an NFL coach with the Redskins, I believe, that he didn't take it necessarily as seriously as people thought that he should. They said he played a lot of golf. He showed up late for meetings.
This is the coach.
He cut practices short. Yeah. But you got to understand, he had already been a super successful college coach in Florida. Okay. He already made his money. He already was famous. I think he thought, I'm going to come into the pros and I'm going to let these guys just carry me. And he found out it wasn't that easy and had to take a step back. Then went right back to University of South Carolina and was successful again.
Wow.
So, I mean, the guy knows football. You can't take that away.
The guy knows football. And, I wanted to, I highlighted Tim Lewis as a coach. I wanted to just highlight at least one player because.
Yeah, this is great. This is great right here.
When you think about these guys, now they're getting paid $225,000 on a contract. It's not guaranteed.
And none of their contracts are multi-year, are they?
No, this is for 3 years.
Oh, they all get 3 years?
They get $225 for a 3-year contract. So they're making about 80-something thousand a year.
Okay.
If you look at it over the 3 years.
All right. And it's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed. They do have health insurance.
Right.
And we've seen some injuries. So it's a good thing they have the health insurance. Yeah. But when you start to look at some of these guys that are in the league, now here's a guy, Brian Edward Timms, okay, playing for the Salt Lake Stallions. Played his college college ball at Florida A&M, another college that I went to, FAMU. Signed with my Niners as an undrafted free agent in 2012. Was also a member of the Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns, and New England Patriots, and Indianapolis coach, as well as a pair of teams in the Canadian Football League. And one of the things that made me take a close look at him is because he has the distinction of being a guy who has won an NFL Super Bowl and a Canadian Grey Cup. So he's won championships in both of those leagues. And now he's playing in the AAF, and these are guys, I mean, you're talking about a guy who wants to play football, These are guys who, they're making a whole career out of really, and we're not talking about starters. We're talking about guys who are getting into practice. They're in the practice squads, and they're barely getting into games and things of that nature, but they're hanging in there. And I think that's just something to somewhat be commended.
But for someone who's been around this much, I would have to say for the time he's put in and the teams that he's been able to actually make, either on the 53-man squad or the practice team, he's been pretty successful with the talent that he has. I mean, there's guys that are out of football before they're 25. He's one of those guys that if you watch Hard Knocks, the guy comes and knocks on your door and tells you to bring your playbook, but then when you get there, the coach doesn't necessarily say we're going to have to release you. He says, we're going to put you on waivers, or he says, we got some calls from so-and-so that want to bring you onto their practice squad. You know what I mean? You get paid for that.
I think he signed a couple contracts that would put him up in his total earnings is well up above $1 million.
Yes, he has made up his mind. He made up his mind somewhere along the line that football is what I do. This is what I'm going to make my living on. And I'm going to hang in here and I'm going to work and I'm going to fight until I can, until I can't play anymore.
I mean, he even got cut from Orlando.
Right. His first AAF team, by the end of training camp, they let him go.
Yeah.
And another team picked him up.
Yeah.
Probably partly because of the fact that he's got a resume. He's got a resume. Look at all the teams he played on.
You mean he got cut because of that?
No, I said the other team picked him up
after that because he had a resume.
Because he has a resume.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. And so, I wanted to again just kind of bring the AAF into focus for people. There's two conferences. You have your Eastern Conference and your Western Conference. Eastern Conference has the Atlanta Legends, the Birmingham Iron, the Memphis Express, and the Orlando Apollos. So that's your Eastern Conference. Your Western Conference has probably the cornier names of the two conferences.
Yeah, these names aren't great.
I don't know. The Arizona Hotshots, really? I mean, come
Sounds
on.
like a little league team.
You gotta do a little bit better than
Sounds like a little league basketball team.
You know. Now the Salt Lake, really. The Salt Lake Stallions.
That's not bad.
Not too bad. Not too bad. The San Antonio Commanders sounds a bit pretentious to me, you know. And then the San Diego Fleet. I don't understand that at all.
Fleet, Clippers. It's all about the boat
ocean
thing in the ocean.
Yeah. But when I think football team names, I'm thinking something that's supposed to strike something. You know what I mean? Make a statement or scare
like Titans
you or something.
Or Warriors.
Yeah. You know? Even the Steelers sounds, you know, masculine and
even though it's meant for because it was a steel town.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You know, at least it sounds somewhat menacing.
Even Packers does.
Yeah. I mean, these are working, you know,
right. It's blue collar, masculine
type thing. But the hot shots,
that really sounds little leaguish.
You know, but hey, look, you know, they'll change it if it needs to be changed. I talked about net points. As I said, I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. Normally, when I do net point analysis, it is on the NFL teams. But I thought I'd throw some analysis toward the AAF and at least give people an idea about where these teams stand now in terms of their strengths and weaknesses going into the half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So that, you know, and the great thing about net points is you can look at the net points and know who's getting it done and who's not getting it done real fast. Real fast. So obviously at the bottom here, the Atlanta Legends with minus 59 net points. And again, net points is the differential between points for and points against. That's points scored and versus points given up. And that's the differential. And that's how we tend to look at things. The Birmingham Iron coming in at second, with 44 net points. That's a plus 44. Again, this is one of those stats where you have the full range of plus and minus numbers. And again, even like in the NFL, at any one time, half your teams are in the negative. The Arizona Hotshots are plus 7. So you see a pretty wide range. And as I did mention to you, I do believe Orlando won by 40 in their first game.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a net point advantage going right in. So we'll see how that evens out.
Well, with only 10 total games, that should probably hold up.
Yeah, probably.
I've watched them play. They are probably the class of the league at this point.
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. You got your Commanders with minus 18, your Stallions minus 20, your Express with minus 29. And I'm not sure what Atlanta's doing defensively, but they might have been on the other end of that 40-point loss for all I know right now. And here's a graphic of those net points. And then we talk about points for. So again, we're looking at the Orlando Apollos putting up 118 points. So they obviously, as you said, with their coach Steve Spurrier, an offensive genius. So at 73, he still knows how to get it done. And you got to remember, they go for 2. They don't kick extra points.
Right.
So, you know, it's interesting because you see real creativity in that goal line offense now.
Right.
I mean, you know, these guys are running all types of stuff now.
Right,
you know?
right.
Include some straight power. They'll run some straight power at you too.
You think about it, even with the advent of more NFL teams running for 2, as opposed to the way it used to be, you figure you come into the season with maybe 6, 7 2-point plays.
Right.
In your book that you could pull out and use, they have to have at least double that.
Yeah.
I mean, they have double that.
Right.
You can't be predictable.
No.
You need those 2 points.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, all types of trickery, things going on right down there at the goal line. So you got your San Diego Fleet and your Arizona Hotshots both putting up 84 points. So I talked about their name, but they're putting up some points. The Iron at 77, right in the middle. And you'll notice that's interesting because they were in second place, I do believe, in net points.
Okay.
And you'll see why shortly. The Commanders at 67, the Stallions 65, the Express at 61, and there's your Legend at 44 points scored. Here's the graphic of that scoring there. And then here we go. Birmingham Iron. The reason they're second is because of that defense. They do not give up points.
Look at that.
These guys, and I'm talking goal line stands. You know, they do not give up points.
I'm going to have to look and see when the Apollos play the Iron.
I believe that's this weekend.
I'll be tuning in.
We'll see. We'll see because we're going to do the bias on these games.
Okay.
San Diego Fleet giving up 64. The Hot Shot 77. Commanders tied with the Stallions at 85. The Express at 90. And down again at the bottom, the Atlanta Legends. Somebody's going to get fired at coach. Who was that coach for the Atlanta Legends?
I don't know, anyway? But it's not looking good.
He is not going to be there. Let's see. Kevin Coyle. All right, Kevin.
I heard Kevin Coyle. That's not Kevin Coyle. They used to be a quarterback.
Might be. You'll have to look him up.
Oh, dear.
And there is your...
Nice knowing you, Kev.
There's your graphic for that. Now, as I said to you, we did the bias arrangement. Now, what the bias is, and again, if you watch us during the regular NFL season, this little breakdown here, we don't normally put all of this out like this, but we just gives an opportunity for people to kind of get an idea of how we come to these numbers. So your Orlando Apollo play your Birmingham Iron.
Good.
The Apollo coming in with 55 net points. The Birmingham Iron with 44, and the bias is the difference in net points between those two teams. So that bias, it goes toward the Apollos with a net point bias of 11 net points in their favor. So we call it the bias. It doesn't guarantee a win, but the team that's on the low end of that, we call that overcoming the bias. If you're able to beat that, because that other team has been just doing a better job. They've been more productive. Salt Lake Stallions playing the San Diego Fleet. Salt Lake had minus 20 net points. The Fleet had plus 20. So that gives the Fleet a bias, the largest bias of the weekend in the AAF, 40 net points in their favor. Your Memphis Express coming in with minus 28 net points. Your Atlanta Hot Shots with minus 59. You'll notice that the bias is in red because both teams are in the negative. So we just wanted to make that stand out. But your Memphis Express with minus 28, that's a better number than minus 59. Mm-hmm. So their bias is 31 in their favor. And then finally, we have the Commanders away, and again visiting the Arizona Hot Shots. Commanders are minus 18. Hot Shots are plus 7. So the Hot Shots literally have a 25 net point bias in their favor. What can I tell you?
Wait a minute. You sure that's right?
Yeah. The difference between 18 and 7 is a 25. Remember the number line.
It was a minus 18.
Right. And that's a plus
and they're
7.
A plus 7.
Right. So that's 25 net point differential.
Right. That seems weird. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. I do want to make sure, if I can, to watch that Orlando-Birmingham game. But I like Birmingham with the stiff defense at home.
Okay. All right.
So I would go against the bias on that one.
All right.
The Fleet and Salt Lake.
Same thing. See, one's plus, one minus. Yeah. So you have a 40 net point difference.
Right. I got you.
You always got to remember your number line when you're doing that. That's
right.
That's really what you're looking at.
So I saw Salt Lake play, but they played against Orlando and they kind of got handled. And they were home and it was in the snow. It was interesting, but
yeah, I was surprised because we were here talking about Orlando being from a warm weather place where they were able to come up and handle the cold weather and everything.
They didn't have a problem at all.
No.
Didn't have a problem at all.
No.
So I'd probably go with the Fleet on that one. That Atlanta team, I don't know, man. I can't go with them. I got to go with Memphis.
Atlanta, I don't know.
Arizona, hot shot. You know, Arizona is sitting in the middle.
Right, smack.
And they are home. I haven't seen either team play, so I'm going to not try to call that one. But I think Orlando's going to take their first L.
Okay. So that's the bias here. Those are the net point differentials for the teams that are coming up. We kind of wanted to share that with you, and that covers that. So, Ben, the next thing we were going to talk about is just anything in general in the NFL that you think might be interesting. Now, yesterday at 4:00 was the close of the franchise tag. So if you want to franchise tag somebody,
you had to get it done
yesterday by 4.
Okay.
So that's done.
And there have been some notable names. I know I think DeMarcus Lawrence got tagged. Somebody tagged the kicker. I think it was you guys. Niners tagged their kicker. I don't know. They're like, who we gonna tag? Oh, let's tag the kicker.
Let's tag the kicker. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, he's a hell of a kicker.
He is a good kicker. I can't say nothing. Yeah, a lot of defensive players got tagged. There were some guys that were tagged for the second and third times, which I know they're not happy about.
But they get paid. I mean, it's not like they're not getting paid that much more.
I hear you, bro, but to them, it's about their freedom. When you get tagged, first of all, you already got the somewhat plantation owner mindset. No, come on now. You said to bring up the other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. The owners are owners. They kind of own the team, but the players make up the team. Therefore, they own you, and they sign you to a contract, and they pay you a lot of money. That is true, but you are locked in.
They own.
They own the rights.
You have responsibility to your contract with them. So
okay,
they don't own you,
right? But
go ask Le'Veon.
But the player
Le'Veon said, "You don't own me. Keep your $14 billion."
He made sure that nobody owned him.
That's right,
and that he's free. But guess what? He gonna go somewhere. I hope he's happy where he goes because he wants a multi-year contract, a long-term contract, which in football I guess means at least 5 years. Hope he's happy because I'm hearing word that the Jets got the most money to pay him.
Really?
Yeah, and everything he's done and said to me leads me to believe that it's about the money. The money and long-term and guarantees is top on his priority list.
That's a bit much, though. 5 years for running back.
It is. He's 30. Yeah. We're almost 30.
That's been part of this challenge is,
right. And so sitting out a year doesn't help. But now he'll say, well, I sat out a year, so it's really like I'm adding a year on.
People say he gained some weight. Look,
they said he gained 60 pounds. 60. They saw him out on jet skis in Florida. They said he's fat, chubby, husky. He's husky. But supposedly he has no problem losing weight. If you remember, at Michigan State, he played at 245.
Okay, I didn't remember. But
yeah, he actually came down in weight once he came into the NFL when he started running more routes and catching the ball more. He was a bruiser in college.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So and now you have the whole Antonio Brown drama. What's going on with him?
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Ridiculous blonde mustache. Now, have you seen?
Still saying an idiot.
And that. Who was it?
Who do these people do?
Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald. I know. That was my question. Even with Kaepernick.
I'm like, who's your mentor, dude?
And Larry Fitzgerald said, he didn't think he was going about it the right way. I mean, less is more. You say less, you probably would get paid more.
Right.
Right. It'd be less.
The more you say, the more opportunities you give yourself to be disliked by somebody.
I've already said, that I'm not looking for him to come to the Niners. We don't need that diva stuff, and we all know how, awesome of a receiver he is and everything. And when you listen to him in the conversation, sometimes he says some things, you go, yeah. And then you look at him, you're going.
What's that on his face?
What is that? What are you doing?
That's why I didn't realize it was blonde. I didn't know what it was. I thought he put some magic shave on it, and he was waiting for it.
They said he's sending out video birthday to people for $500. Like you pay him $500, he'll send out a video birthday thing to you. He did one lady. He's in like a pool, and it was like, and then they were saying like he obviously didn't do it real smooth, and they didn't bother to do a second take.
Okay.
So I don't know about all of that, but yeah, things, now that the combine is over, and now that the franchise piece is dead, the new year starts for the NFL in March, about a week and a half or so, and the free agency will kick in, and that's when it will start picking up free agents,
right?
And things will really start to solidify in terms of the picture,
where everybody's going. Some of these pending trades will start to actually happen. I know teams are weighing things. Even with Antonio Brown, I read today that his agent said that he expects something to happen on Friday. It can't become official until the 13th.
Okay.
But they can actually consummate it.
Right. They can come to agreement.
Come to an agreement of terms.
Yeah.
And announce it.
Wow.
So if he's saying Friday, then I'm expecting it to happen at a time that they think will be dynamic, which may be Friday, maybe Monday. It may be during an AAF game, whatever they think is going to make the biggest splash, because, that's what they're into.
Okay.
So, but it could actually happen this weekend. That'll be interesting. The three teams I'm hearing the most about are the Raiders, the Cardinals, and Denver. Denver being interesting since they just got Flacco.
Right.
Personally, I think Flacco's like a shot fighter. I don't think he's got it anymore. I don't think he's going to be much better than Case Keenum was. That's just my personal opinion. The Raiders could actually do something with him. I like Derek Carr. I actually like Derek Carr. The Cardinals, they've been trying to find. They've gone through guys like J.J. Nelson, John Brown. There was another. They've been trying to find that speed complement to Larry Fitzgerald for years and haven't been able to find it. I think they've got it now with
oh yeah.
The tall kid, Christian Kirk.
Okay.
But it kind of makes sense to bring a vet like Brown in to complement Fitzgerald. The problem is, how long is Larry going to keep playing?
How long is Larry going to keep playing? And does a first-year coach, is he really ready to deal with that level of diva attitude? Unless
he's basically a college
guy,
though.
Takes a step back in terms of the attitude and goes there and,
which he could do.
Plays hard, yeah. He can be a great asset.
Absolutely.
But as I said before, the Patriots showed that you can win without having the super duper wideouts.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're playing at a strong team concept. So, that's what I wanted to mention about that. Anything else about the NFL?
Well, I wouldn't put anything past his coach also, by the way, because he's one of them run and shoot guys at heart. So he likes speed on the outside, and he likes to throw the ball a lot. And he has coached Kyler Murray, and people are biting their nails like, this guy's going to take Kyler Murray with the first pick.
That's what it's starting to smell that way, because I've heard that they're talking to people about Rosen, right? Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
And then there's some teams out there that could use a quarterback. Yeah. I don't think he's a bad quarterback.
I heard a lot of good things about Josh Rosen, and he did not stink. But their team was just so dysfunctional. I mean, when you got a running back like David Johnson and he can't really get off, like he played better in the passing game than he did in the running game because they just couldn't run block. So
there's so many things that for a young rookie to have to step into last year with the Cardinals, that you have to almost give him credit for being able to go in there and keep his head.
Stay healthy,
and
be somewhat competitive.
And be
So a change of scenery for him could be tremendous.
Yeah. So, I don't know who would take him off the top of my head, or who's, but again, you never know. I mean, it could be the Jaguars. You're talking about Nick Foles going to the Jaguars.
That's a done deal, isn't it?
I don't know if it's done.
I think it's done.
You think it's done?
I think it's done.
Okay.
But
that's going to be interesting because, you and I, me, I think Nick Foles was the ultimate reliever, but I don't know if I believe that he's going to be the starter that plays at the level that he did in the, for the Eagles, finishing off the season in the Super Bowl, et cetera. But we know that he works, he puts in the time. That's the thing. He puts in the time, and he really helps, he'll do what the coach wants him to do.
As is with a lot of guys, I should say probably most guys, but especially with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's the ultimate reliever in the right system and can be a good starter in the right system. I'm not going to say he's going to be an outstanding starter because he is yet to play a full 16-game schedule, which is a lot of people forget.
Right, right.
Heard some guys arguing in the locker room at the gym. Oh, Nick Foles played all this. I said, no, he didn't. Michael Vick started that year.
Right.
So stop.
Exactly. And we know that he, how good he is with RPOs.
Right. That's why he's kind of he's a system quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a system quarterback.
The right system. You got to put him. You got to do the
right thing. Everybody
is
to a certain degree, but he is without a doubt a system quarterback. Look what he's done. Take all the teams he's played on and look what he's done when he was away from Chip Kelly or Andy Reid.
Oh, yeah.
Or who is Andy Reid light.
Right.
Look at what he did with the
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's pretty much what it's. Anything else? So we're going to move right on.
I think we're good.
Okay. Social media. Media. I want to talk a little about or show some of our social media. I kind of went past there. There it is right there. So let's take a look at what's going on. Let's see here. Was this where we left off? Where did we leave off at? I do believe that's it right there. Yep. So, Ben and Barry on football, on Facebook at BNBOF. Posted a few different things. Had the question about the Giants with the signing of their backup quarterback, and you said bodies for camp, right? So you didn't think much of that. This was a story that I have absolutely had to share. NFL player who saves nearly 90% of his income. He's teaching a finance class at the University of Pennsylvania right now.
Oh, that's dope.
That is truly dope.
He saves 90% of his NFL income. So his game checks we're talking about. Does he have any endorse? Who is this guy? What's his name? I don't know his face.
Hold on. We'll give it to you. Brandon Copeland.
Okay.
Right. Brandon Copeland.
I think he's a DB, right?
Yeah. Let me see here. Football guarantees. Life 101.
Yo, that's cool.
Yeah. Brandon Copeland. So
he needs to give some. He's got to be at the rookie symposium.
Yeah, where they talk.
They got to bring him to the rookie symposium and let him speak to these guys when they're coming in.
Yeah,
to the league. I know he can't give them his whole, professorial spiel, but he got to give them enough to get them thinking.
This is a pretty good breakdown.
Who does that?
60% of his post-tax salary goes towards safe long-term investments. 30% goes towards savings, and he lives off the remaining 10 to 15%.
So people will say, "Well, he makes so much. Of course, he can do that." Okay.
Yeah, but a lot of the guys that make that much don't do that.
Don't do that,
and then they wind up broke.
Yep.
He signed a 1-year, $1.2 million contract with the Jets. He put his income well above a lot of the average, but you don't have to be rich to pay yourself first, as they say here.
That's close to a game check for some guys.
Yeah.
What he makes in a year.
Now, this is we talked about the AAF. So we put that up there. We just talked about the 2019 best of combine, so you can go back and you can kind of get a list, take a look and see who was there.
That's good broad jump.
Some of the highlights. Yeah. He did it again. Look at that. Nailed it. This was an interesting story. This gentleman right here, Mr. Ray.
That's Nat King Cole.
Yes. That's his grandfather.
Get out of here. What's his name? Ray what?
Wyatt.
Boston College.
Yeah. Grandson of Nat King Cole in the combine.
I'll tell you, man.
Yeah. When I say I watched the combine, I watched the combine, and something like that. I just thought was so interesting. People love that particular
that's
post.
Cool.
People love that particular post. Of course, the commercial.
Greatest commercial ever.
Commercial ever. And it's funny because the edited version, they cut out the part where Montana says to the playmaker,
no way, cowboy.
No way, cowboy. When he says, he's like, no way, cowboy. Throws it to Rice. Such a great commercial. And I saw the making of it. Tried to call you.
Oh, okay.
The making was awesome, especially at the end when they were dealing with what's your running back again?
Saquon. Right.
They said if you watch the end of the thing, they give the ball to Saquon, and he, how he jumps over.
Yeah.
So he jumps over this guy, and they said they had to raise the mics and stuff because he was so high in the air, he was almost hitting his head on the equipment. They had to raise the equipment, and he did it over and over. As many takes as they needed, he just did it over and over again.
That is the greatest commercial.
I'm telling you, I love that commercial
because everything they do and say means something. If you know that player and know his career, that's just,
We put up a list. There's a list on here on our page somewhere of all the participants and kind of in order of appearance. Okay. So there were some people that like Larry Little. I couldn't remember that was Larry Little with the 3 Dolphins.
Right.
They were sitting there from the undefeated 72.
Right.
You know what
I
mean?
Didn't they have champagne?
Yeah, they just sitting there
because that's what they do every year.
That's exactly what they do.
I like Peyton Manning too. Throws the ball and the guy goes, "You still got it." He goes, "That hurt."
That sounds like something me and you would say.
Right.
Well, DK Metcalf. That's what he looked like as a freshman. That's what he looks like now, running a 4.40. That's why I text you. I wanted you to see that picture. I'm like, you have to be able to see with his 1.6, 1.9% body fat. Everybody's talking about now going back to the gym to get rid of their dad bod because he's just made all of us look.
Now, granted, this guy's like 21 or something.
Yeah. I know.
But still.
But tell me, is that not a change?
Yeah. Well, high school kids don't eat right. When you go to college, they make sure you eat right. That they do. On top of when you go to McDonald's and stuff on your own, okay? So if you come in as a skinny kid like that, there's a good chance you hit the weight room, you could turn out like that. Obviously, with that low of a body fat percentage, he's doing a little bit more than the average guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's something you have to, really concentrate on. But
so you've been
crazy.
you got your fingers crossed that Dwayne Haskins makes it to the Giants as a quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's their yes.
I'm like, look, take the second pick, get that guy. I want my Niners to get him. 4-4. You got Marquise Goodwin on one side, speedy as all hell. You got that guy. We got Pettis and we got Kittle, and with Garoppolo coming back,
that's a heck of a receiving core, I must admit. But again, do your due diligence. Go back, look at some highlights.
I did.
You did?
Okay. Yeah.
You like what you said?
He's running by guys, running, passing, and catching the ball with one hand like OBJ.
Okay. Does he catch the ball underneath?
I didn't see a lot of highlights with him catching the ball underneath. He had a neck injury in college.
Okay.
So it limited, the number of games and stuff, amount of game film that you were able to watch on him. But from the highlights that I saw, he looked great,
Okay.
and he looked and in the drills, the catching drills, I don't think he dropped hardly anything.
Okay.
So, he's got the hands. He's got the hands, and he was pretty smooth. Again, I think his shuttle speed was the only thing that was a little slow, but I ain't sweating shuttle speed for my wideouts. So that's a little bit of some of the stuff that you can find on Ben and Barry on football, on Facebook. We have our, we already talked about this. We have our Twitter account. And again, one of the things that we always like to point out in terms of our Twitter account is our friends list. And the people that we're following, I guess, is what I really should be calling it. Am I still on Facebook? Yes, I am. Here's the Twitter account. So, we try to share, especially if we see things that, where we see people doing good stuff, in the league, and we try to share that information. And again, I did try to reach out and tag my Niners, and talk a little bit about getting him, getting that guy. I mentioned the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings, which you can find on Facebook. I will have this up on my personal website soon. We'll be blogging directly from the website to here. And then finally, Ben and Barry on Football, the YouTube page, where you should be able to see the film that we are putting together as we speak. So, Benny, the last part of this was any rants or anything last minute things as we wrap this show up?
I have a rant. Probably nobody's going to know what I'm talking about. It has to do with fantasy football. My main fantasy football league, which I am a co-commissioner in, is me and somebody else. It's a 10-owner league. We're one of the few leagues that plays fantasy all the way through to the real live Super Bowl, which requires a lot of tedious, I shouldn't say tedious, it requires redrafting at the end of the regular season for the playoffs and then redrafting again for the Super Bowl. I'm not going to go into detail about the ins and outs of that and how we do it. I know some people are going, you can only go to week 16 and then blah, blah, blah. But we go all the way. It's a great league. It's a good amount of money to get in it, and it's a good amount of money for prize money. And we have some rules that are not hard to follow and are pretty fair for everyone, no matter what level of fantasy player that you are. When we originally started the league, there was 8 of us, and we got 2 more people. We don't want to go over 10. We try to keep parity in the league. In other words, we take the final standings, and just like the NFL does, the guy with the worst record gets the first pick in the first round, and so on. And then we snake it from there, and all that's good. So it's what's known as a keeper league, which means when the season is over or before the next season begins, you're allowed to keep 3 players that you had the previous season. Then everybody else gets tossed back into the pool for the draft.
Okay.
We play with an 18-man roster, 9 starting players. So 3 seems like it's a good number. It's kind of the universal keeper number, even for leagues that don't go all the way to the Super Bowl. 3 just seems fair. If you had 2 keepers, then the draft would be more interesting because there would be more good players available in the draft. However, some guys draft really well, some guys don't draft so well. So it's kind of an advantage for veteran players that draft really well. If you keep 4 and it's a 10-owner league, now you're talking about the top 40 players in the league go off the board before the draft even starts. Kind of dilutes it. By the third round, you're kind of going, I'll take Eckler. You know what I mean? So 3 seemed to be ideal. I think 3 is ideal. At least 8 of the 10 owners in our league think it's ideal. But there's one guy who thinks 4 is better. Now, I'm not going to say your name, but here's where you messed up. First of all, we vote on everything. Seldom do I or the other commissioner make executive decisions unless we have to. If anybody wants to make a change, tweak something, you should propose it. You put a poll up on the website, we vote. But when you propose something, if you were going to propose something, then it have to be football related. You're in a group and you think, you know what, it'd be better if we do it this way. Wouldn't you say, I have a proposal, this is what it is, and this is why I came up with it. This is what I think makes it a good proposal.
Benefits of your idea.
Benefits of your idea, exactly. That was your first mistake. You had no benefits of your idea. So I come back because anybody can express their opinion because we're going to vote. So I said I didn't like it, and I said exactly why. Then, when somebody mentions that at the beginning of the league, when we first started the league, we only had 8 guys. So we said, you know what? So as not to give us an advantage over the 2 new guys that we expect to get the next year, we're only going to keep 2 this first year, and then we're going to go to 3 when we get the other 2. The person who suggested we should get 4 for no particular reason decides, you know what? Yeah, we should go to 2.
So it went from 4 to 2.
Yes.
Well, if you didn't have a reason for 4, then any number that you pick, other than the ones that
right.
wants.
So why? Right. Exactly. Other than the one that everybody else wants, it sounds like you're trying to make a change for the sake of change. That's where you messed up. You lost all credibility in your fight for 4 when you so easily shifted to 2. I know why you want 4, because he has like 6 really good players. If he only gets to keep 3, he's got to put 3 back in the pool, and he can't figure out which 3 to keep. But if he can keep 4, it lightens the load a little bit. It's an advantage for him. Okay. Look, I got 4 guys I could easily keep. It would be an advantage for me too, but it wouldn't be fair to the other owners, so I have to vote against it, even though it would be good for me. Okay? That's the way I want everybody to look at it. This is the travails of fantasy football here.
And again, I'm not a fantasy guy, so it's interesting.
You gotta love fantasy
for me,
man.
Listening to some of the stuff, and and that's one of the ones that like you said, one of the bigger money ones. So I know you pay a lot closer attention to that one. But hey, you got one in every group, man. You're always going to have the one guy.
And that's why we said we're going to vote on everything. Everybody has a say, no matter how big an issue or how small.
Now, again, and you have 2 people that can break the tie because you have 10 people. So you could potentially have a tie there. Right. So, okay. All right.
As commissioner, our main job is to make sure the site stays up, make sure everything runs properly, and keep an account of the money.
Okay.
Because transactions happen during the season.
Can I take prop bets on you guys?
Sure. Yeah, you could.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to be doing some betting this coming season.
I can't wait.
I'll
be ready.
I actually scheduled myself. Mount Airy Learning Tree actually had a sports betting, but they canceled the class.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I have to wait until they reschedule. I don't think they had enough people.
Okay.
That signed up.
Okay.
I
know a lot of young guys are getting into sports betting. Well, with the casinos and all this stuff, betting is kind of big. But a lot of guys on my flag team are really into it. They got pools that guys bring to their office or where they work and what have you. They're pretty much into it, man.
For someone with the net point rankings and as well as we were doing, I'm just not a bettor. I just am not that gambler guy, you know. So,
Right, but you believe in net point power rankings, right?
I've seen it. We've seen it year after year after year.
Yeah.
You know, year after year after year. So, you know, it's like we're leaving money on the table here. But at least we got to at least try it out, you know, and figure out how.
Put a few shekels down.
Put a few shekels down. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, look, this was for a non-season show.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had a lot of content.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everybody enjoyed it. This is Ben and Barry on football. Again, remember to click the subscribe button and the notification button so that you'll get more information. And stay tuned because we will be coming back. So much is getting ready to happen between the draft and, you know, and everything, the free agency. So it will be popping and we will be on top of it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace out.
Go Noles.
Go Noles.